industriousness of how graffiti artists work never fails to impress. And I agree with you. You alluded to it, and I'm with you. The new form of marketing campaign, or at least one from 80s onwards. If people had, if companies had the same industriousness as Graff writers did, you know, who cares if it's not right the first time? We're doing it again and again and again, repeat. That's something I take away from all of my work ethic, you know.
I mean, that's like a skater going down a flight of steps, didn't land it, broke his ankle, came back 2 weeks later, didn't land it, landed it. You know what I mean? So, yeah. You know, that's the same with the lettering or style. You're developing a style, you know, and you just progress and progress and progress, hopefully.
yeah, that's theory anyway, you know, breaking legs. I think the other thing about graffiti and skateboarding and the relationship is, I think or at least I love to think that parents still don't quite understand why kids of those two genres would want to do something for free at such a great cost. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think more parents of this generation get it. Like, I'm closer with my kids than I was with my parents. And we share more interest in music, clothing, the way we talk, pop culture, all the snapping and all the, you know, quick tongue stuff where what'd you just say to me? Like, oh shit, like, wow.
That's cool.
Heads are quick, where our parents didn't celebrate it like that, you know? So I think that now, just because of the more interest that we share with our children on that level, but purely because my son at 16 is like writing graffiti. My son at 16 is like, oh, wow, I get it, Dad. You put the time in. You're like, he's, by doing and seeing little bits out in his world, he gets it. And it's really interesting to be appreciated by your children's peer group, because, you know, you're always corny. You're just the dad. Yeah, whatever.
You're always dad, yeah.
Yeah, all right, yeah. But now his group of people start to recognize some of the things that I've worked on, some of my input in the culture we're all sort of talking about. And it's inspiring to them, which is what I love hearing from my son the most. They're all like, oh, we can, oh my God, yeah. So it's possible if we work on what we do. Look, his dad did it. It's not foreign. It can be done, you know? So that's what I like as their takeaway. You know, heads are sort of like really using their artistic abilities. Like my son's making fanzines, him and his boys do photo shoot. You know, they're all really, I made up the term ingenuitous, but like, you know, they're very smart with the tools that they're given. Certainly now there's a lot more tools in the chest than when we were coming up. And I'm really impressed to see how, you know, and what they're producing, because they're all very eclectic and they're all really individual, but they share their individuality. They don't shit on each other for it. Like when we were coming up, when the word hate and the internet was, you know, these guys have a much better way of celebrating each other. You know, even if they're not happy, they can agree to disagree.
Yeah.
That period, that, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And so it's nice. It's nice to see that for them anyway.
For sure. And regardless of whether their pops' stash, it's more like you say, socially, hip hop, or at least the athletic sport principles of it, has been so absorbed into like society. It's got to that point where it's kind of a given, which in many respects, like you lose certain core principles, but you gain a ton of values. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know, I mean, you got to give a little, get something, right? I mean, you got to, it's all about finding that balance too, you know, like just, you know, that's what we do every day. You wake up and you just try and find the balance, right? I mean,
yeah. What's the thing that, what is the thing that knocks your kids and their peer groups out for six the most? Out of all the things you've done, we're going to get into some stuff you've done, but what's the things that you're like, really? You like that? Really? What's the things?
They're all different, you know, like because of the world we live in, the obvious lowest hanging fruit is the footwear.
Yeah.
You know, people's, you know, and certainly me, that's what got me into it. You know, my sort of, you know, oh shit, you know, those sneakers are kind of dope right there. I think I need those, you know, like just that sort of the appeal and what that market has done. Because to me, the footwear led to the clothing, to everything else, because I used to build my outfits from my shoes on up. Everything started with the kicks.
All day.
So, right. So it's interesting that some of my son's friends and some of my daughter, I have a daughter who's 5 years older than my son, and watching them sort of identify with what I've done that's been out in the world. Could be sneakers, could be a big mural that got a little bit of shine locally, or I'm hearing really cool things about my older Graff style. These kids really like the older, like the 80s, 90s, when it was like, oh yeah, okay, that's when it was going on. And you could probably, just sort of identify a style or whatever. So for me, it's a lot of it's like sneakers, right? Because the footwear, like I said, is such a big deal.
Yeah.
Even for me, oh shit, my boy just dropped I need those.
Yeah.
The drop. Dave Bacon, our boy Dave Ortiz, they just re-released his shoe. I needed that, so thank you, Dave.
Hold tight, Dave.
Yeah. So, I mean, seeing that with the kids, I get it. There's so much stuff, like I say, I identify with what they're looking at and how they process, and it's all retail therapy at the end of the day. It's all about, the product. So if it's not the Graff, it's usually some sort of product I've worked on that could be Bathing Ape. It's always surrounding the label and the phenomena of an artist worked with a collab with this sort of brand, creates excitement no matter what it is,
You know what's really exciting, I guess, not only your kids, but like I think young people in general, I find it when I see some of your stuff back in the day, or anyone else from the fraternity of that time, the old school style that people now try and claim as a naive style for like modern day Graff, I really take a shine to it, because you can't fake that shit. When you see a piece that's done, not necessarily even on a train, but when you see the photo, the Kodak, that raw image, or you see something that is clearly from the 90s, it just really puts a mark on like yourself as an artist, and how much you've done and how important it's been for you to repeat the process and the relevance of that from old to now. It's just it's always impressive to see. Do you know what I mean?